Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live.
Good morning, friends. Lovely as always to feel and see you arriving. And as you yourself settle in and arrive, as you settle into your body, give yourself a little time to feel the tangible sense of this shared space. Again, a space that clearly is here regardless of where we are in space, but also is here regardless of where we are in time. We drop into this space whenever we come. And feeling the others here, not as just ideas in our minds, but as this very tangible sense of a shared field of luminous warmth, which is a field that we are both cultivating together, that active movement of turning a luminous, warm attention towards whatever is arising in our experience and extending it outwards towards each other. But it's also an experience that we are learning to passively receive, to receive its intrinsic presence. Just like the active and the passive dance of breathing in and breathing out. And so over these days, during this week, we continue to explore the theme of love's fullness, exploring the Buddha's 4 foundations of mindfulness through the lens of love. And so we've been translating the teachings in a more immediate, embodied and tender way, rather than observing what is arising this moment, or even rather than contemplating what is arising in this moment. It's been more of an invitation to dive into the immediate, embodied, felt sense of this moment with the very conscious qualities of curiosity and care, kindness, tenderness, openness, wonder, awe. And so imbuing this embodied experience with love. And then the invitation at times has been as well to widen our attention to feel, if we can, the way in which luminous warmth that we may experience as we direct it inwardly isn't something that is personal or exclusive to ourselves or limited to our own volition, but it's actually already here in the field, in the relational field that arises and dissolves around us. Something you may have noticed yesterday as we explored the 3rd foundation of mindfulness of emotions and mind states, was how much our emotional life in particular really longs to be held in this luminous warmth, to be recognized and allowed, not given the front seat and told that our anger or our fear or our grief needs to be in charge of making decisions and acting, but instead how soothing it can feel to remember that whatever feelings are here are already held in this field of luminous warmth, and that this very luminous warmth itself, this love, is much more capacitated in its wisdom and compassion and creativity and delight, much more capacitated to respond appropriately. But there are times, of course, and particularly times of intensity, when it's harder to access our own capacity to meet intense emotions with love. And it can be harder to trust that we are held when it feels like life betrays us. It can be harder to trust in life's or the universe's inherent goodness. And so we will be exploring that today in a conscious way through the lens of the fourth foundation of mindfulness, which is mindfulness of the Dharma, really mindfulness of the Buddha's profound and deep teachings into the truth of reality, the nature of things, the way of things. And so, of course, there are so many different avenues we could choose to turn towards to discover and feel in our immediate experience the truth of, for example, the three characteristics. The truth that everything is changing, the truth that everything is impersonal. It's not about me and mine. And the truth that when we try to resist those truths, that we try to make something fixed and solid and unchangeable and personal, that we suffer. So that could be one way, exploring the three marks of existence, the three characteristics, the truths of existence in our immediate embodied experience. But what I would like to invite us to explore today, given the charge of emotion that was certainly shared yesterday and that is likely to still be here today, and even if it's not, giving a container for us to learn this maturity of holding emotional energies and the energies of mind states with more love and wisdom and compassion is always such an important thing. Given all of that, I'll be inviting you to explore in a somewhat creative way what I think of at least as one of the most foundational insights that the Buddha had, which is the insight that of dependent origination, the insight that everything arises dependent on something else. It's very direct insight. Everything arises dependent on something else, which means that everything is influenced by and in turn influencing something else, which means ultimately that both directly and indirectly, everything is influenced by and influencing everything else. In other words, this teaching, this foundational teaching, points towards the web of relationality between all things, which, as you know, has come to be endorsed by modern physics and the understanding that there are no discrete, separate entities, really, that can be found when we come down to the smallest levels of existence. So everything exists both in relationship and even as a relationship. Relationality is our existence. The ocean is a field of relationality. And so this is why it's so important that we continue to recognize the way in which we are in relationship with this moment. But also, which is more where we'll be taking our attention today, also the way in which everything is in relationship with us as well. So one of you asked on the first day, when I was inviting a sense of our body being held in this field of luminous warmth, our body being held in a field of love. Was that question, is it really love or is it something more neutral? And my invitation and response was, find out for yourself. And the only way we find out is by entering into relationship with this apparent other of the world around us. And so the way I will be inviting us to explore today is also influenced by my own experience in Peru, in retreats I have attended in the high mountains amongst the Pacos, who are part of an unbroken lineage that stretches back, I think, 13,000 years, that is deeply steeped and founded in animism, which really means founded in the unshakable knowing and experience of aliveness everywhere, that everything is alive, which to me very much endorses and correlates with the Buddha's insight of relationality. Everything is in relationship with everything else. And everything is alive with the same luminous intelligence, the same warmth, which we can only know by choosing to come into relationship with it, by opening ourselves to both give and receive. And in the Andes, there's particular attention paid to the quality of aliveness in Pachamama, the spirit of the earth, and how aliveness manifests through the natural world, the trees, the rivers, the that particular quality of that we might feel in nature of feeling held and supported, very feminine energy of nurturance. And so in our meditation today, I'll be inviting you to reflect on if there is somewhere in nature, whether it's just a corner of the garden or a park or a tree or a river or a lake or a woodland or a field, somewhere in nature where you feel that sense of a relationship. And if you don't yet, I really invite you to begin to explore that. Getting to know a place, feeling held by a place, being in relationship. In the Andes, there's also a connection to the energy of the apus, which is a more masculine energy, and it's the energy of guidance, where the earth energy of Pachamama is more related to compassion and delight. The energy of the apus connected to high places often, and you might notice you have felt that way at the top of a mountain, that sense of clarity of perspective. So it's an energy more related to wisdom, to guidance, to clear seeing, to the remembrance that love is available to us even in the most challenging and contracted places. And that it looks, sometimes we need to lift ourselves up out of the entanglements of this moment, a bit like coming to the top of a mountain and having that perspective, to breathe again, to feel and receive that clear guidance. So again, I'll be inviting you to reflect during our meditation this morning, and I'm sharing it now so you can begin the reflections now. If there's any experience you've had from perhaps these high places, or if you experience in anywhere else that sense of perspective and the feeling of guidance, the feeling of clarity, to be in relationship to that, to know that it's something you can call forward even here, wherever you are, sitting or lying down or wherever you are right now, that you can call forward that relationship and ask it to support you. And for me, there's one other area that, having had these experiences over several years in the high Andes, there's one other area that I still draw from and draw a lot of support from, which, is mysterious to me, but it's this feeling of the presence of guides in a form that I can't see. So a presence of support and guidance from an unseen realm. And there's a sense of a guidance that has always been here ever since I've been young, through my whole life. And the feeling is that it will always be here. A sense of a presence of certain ancestors as well. It's a feeling both of holding and guidance and also protection. And even sometimes I draw from the presence of my own awakened self, which feels, even as I'm, moving through lifetimes and growing into that capacity, and yet beyond time is already here. And so just that invitation, in other words, through all of these different ways, whatever resonates with you, of reaching out, what we're really doing here is reweaving the web of relationality, that we're not alone, that itself, this illusion of being alone here in a cold, dead universe, is the very thing that fuels the poisons of the mind that the Buddha spoke of, the greed, hatred, and delusion, and the behaviors, the actions that lead to accumulation and defense and control. The very things, in other words, that lead to suffering. So sometimes, in order to relax those habits and contractions, those addictions, we need to trust that there is a wider field that allows us to meet this moment, especially when this moment hurts, that allows us to meet it with love. So friends, if you're not already established here in a seat, whether sitting or standing or lying down, that feels supportive, grounded, open and awake, relaxed and spacious, then find a posture which best supports those qualities: grounded, awake, open, relaxed, and spacious. And taking a few slightly deeper breaths, you can squeeze and stretch the skin and muscles of your face, open your mouth wide, yawn. And taking any movements in the body, stretching as we did at the beginning of the week, if you find that helpful. Freeing up your breathing. Sometimes it can help to rub the palms together. And taking a soft, slow breath in through the nose, breathe out with a sigh or a sound. And then placing your cupped hands over your closed eyes and taking a sigh out through the mouth again. Letting the muscles behind your eyes soften. And using your fingertips to widen the space in between the eyebrows, along the eyebrows to the temples a few times, as if opening the doorway, the window, in between the eyebrows, that third eye, widening the space that we tend to contract in worry and pensiveness, widening to receive the wisdom that's already available, it's already here. And letting your fingertips slide down the sides of the face to reach the hinge of the jaw where the lower jaw meets the upper jaw. Breathing into the belly, relaxing the belly as you also release and press into this hinge, widening the space there. Relaxing the ways that we grit our teeth, that we grip our mouth, that we hold ourselves defended, that we hold our viewpoints defended. Letting yourselves come instead into a state that is more willing to listen and receive, to wonder and reflect, to know what you don't yet know. And then your hands slide down to the neck, giving yourself a little massage there if it feels tight. The shoulders as well, perhaps. Take your time, and as tension releases, breathe into the belly. Keep relaxing the abdomen as you relax the shoulders, the jaw, the eyes. Whenever you're ready, letting your hands slide down the sides of the body and maybe massage the belly as well. In your own time, bringing your hands to come to rest wherever they're most comfortable, in a way that supports the same uprightness and openness, as well as softness and spaciousness in the body. Taking a sigh as you choose to rest the luminous warmth of your attention with an anchor here in your body. It might be the anchor of the sensations of your body breathing. It might be the anchor of sound as it comes and goes. Unhooking again and again from the waves of thought that travel along the surface of the ocean of your being. Inviting the anchor of your attention to draw the luminous warmth of being here, inwards and downwards, into the ocean of your body. And if strong emotions are here that draw your attention away from your chosen anchor, turn towards these emotions here in the body, releasing the stories of the mind. Discovering where whatever you're feeling lives in the body. And holding it with so much love. Whatever arises in your experience is welcome here. Here in the body, held with love. Held not only by the loving presence that you're able to offer this moment as it arises in your experience, but held also within the wider field of the loving presence we create together. And held too within a luminous warmth that extends in its aliveness all around us. And so to consciously connect and come into relationship with this luminous warmth, with this aliveness. If there is somewhere in nature where you feel a connection, bring this place to mind, to heart. Imagine yourself there right now. And breathe in the way in which this place in nature holds you. Breathe out the tension of holding yourself all alone. Allow yourself even to ask to be held by this place, by this tree or river, this field, this garden. By its aliveness. Be willing to cultivate this relationship, just as any relationship, remembering that all things exist in relationship. Be willing to open your heart and mind to offer gratitude, to receive love. And if there's some form of prayer or message of gratitude that wants to be shared, as if bowing to the way in which the aliveness of this place has held you and continues to hold you. And feel free to offer that inwardly. And then, if and when you're ready, you might choose to turn your attention towards a place in nature where you feel a sense of perspective, a sense of clarity, guidance, luminosity. And seal yourself in that place and feel your body. Notice how it feels. Breathing in the guidance, light, the wisdom available to you from the aliveness of this place. Feel offering your gratitude and asking for support. We can't do this alone because we're not alone. That's the whole point. And if you feel an offering, prayer, or gratitude, allow that to be here. An appreciation for these subtle relationships in our life that we can also cultivate. And if there's any resonance for you of a sense of presence now or at times in your life, a sense of presence of that your mind doesn't necessarily need to understand, a sense of guidance, whether a feeling of guide or guides being here in the form of an ancestor, or simply a presence of guidance that can't really be defined. A presence perhaps of your own awakened self, encouraging you forward beyond space and time. No need to fabricate anything. And it's also absolutely fine to be here with the luminosity and the warmth of your own breathing body. And also, no need to deny anything. So opening to this possibility that truly you're not alone. That perhaps even right now in this moment, you're encircled by an aliveness that exists beyond form. That's waiting only for you to enter into this field of relationality. Breathing in the support of aliveness, of relationality, of luminous warmth in any way that you perceive it. And breathing out in gratitude at being an inextricable part of this web of life. It's okay to ask to be held and guided, to be shown the way when we're confused and lost, and to be open to experience the felt sense in our bodies in this moment of what arises. Offering gratitude and love in any of these directions of relationality and relationship that you have felt alive. And as you return your attention to your body, to your breathing, feeling yourself held in this web of aliveness. In this unshakable web of luminous warmth. So that you sense yourself now as a wave existing in a vaster ocean of love. Amidst so many humans on our own personal and collective journeys of forgetting and remembering, of forgetting that we belong and believing that we're separate, and remembering thank you, friends. So, given that I appreciate this is a more unusual interpretation of mindfulness, of the Dharma, a more unusual way to guide a meditation in a Dharma context, I would love to know how you experienced it and if it's something that you felt able to relate to, felt something that felt valuable to you.
Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.